No wonder the kids today are so fucking worried because they should be. They really should be. A lot of young kids now, a lot of the youth now are very concerned about the environment, right? I mean, Greta Thunberg, 'di ba? She's like the shining beacon of the youth and she's really worried. And now I get it. Hi everyone, this is Paul Loves to Read, and as you know in this channel, it's all about spreading the love and joy for literature. And today I'm going to share with you a hot topic of a book written by one of the most well-known billionaires in the world. It's called How to Avoid a Climate Disaster, The Solutions We Have and the Breakthroughs We Need by Bill Gates. Ta-da! It is nonfiction, obviously, published in 2021. Whether you like it or not, this affects you. This impacts you. This problem is yours, is ours, is all of us. I think that would be my key takeaway, that understanding and appreciating that I am not removed from climate disaster, that my little life, my little existence has nothing to do with climate disaster. It does. It has. Each one of us. I think that's my key takeaway. Really, truly understanding how I am a part of this problem and how I can be a part of the solution as well. After this book, you kind of feel like, okay, you know a little bit more, right? It's not like you just heard it like a buzzword in the social media, diba? So after this, you have a deeper understanding of it. Not all of it, understandably, but at least like a primer. You get a sense of what efforts are being done and what more is needed as well. I decided to buy this book. I decided to read up on this book because, admittedly, because it's written by Bill Gates. I mean, we all know who he is, what he does, his foundation, his background, his history, everything. But also because I follow Bill Gates' books. You know, whenever he has like Bill Gates recommended, parang it's automatically in my radar. And when I saw that he has a book in the bookstore, I thought, hey, why not read up about or read something written by Bill Gates? And it's also a topic that I am interested in because we all hear and we all know about climate change. And everybody in some level has an interpretation of climate change, and everybody at some level kind of knows about it, but not really. And that's okay, right? That was me. That's why I decided to read the book, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster. There's a real interest in, saving the environment, whatever you can in your own small way. And how can you even do that, right? I mean, I think all of us are aware at this point, or we know that this is such a big deal. And this requires, when I say this, just saving the environment, requires a much, much, much bigger movement than just, your little own self. So sometimes you tend to feel helpless, right? So that's why I was interested in the book, because I wanted to learn, where are we really with climate change? What is climate change? Should I really worry? Should we be worried? The answer is yes. And what can you do in your own small way? And at the same time, what are the technologies available now that can, address the climate disaster that we are in? And I think that's the part of the book, that's the part in the book where I got really interested, because it's science, baby. So it's always interesting to me. So Bill Gates wrote this from a very American lens. Okay, so he's always talking about, when he gives examples, he's always giving examples in the U.S. And he did address that in the book. He did say that he is intentionally kind of focusing or writing from the lens of the U.S. because the U.S. is one of the most or one of the highest contributor to climate change, right, or to carbon emissions. The countries that are impacted the most are the third world countries. Therefore, in terms of who should be accountable for the 51 billion tons, it should naturally be from the countries who produce it the most, right? But the first world countries don't necessarily feel it as bad as the third world countries. I have a lot of those things that I know now that I didn't know before, right? So there was that blind spot prior to reading this. Yun na nga, di ba? Parang you think you know what climate disaster is. You look out the window, it's too hot, it's too cold. Wow, climate change. Parang that's it. No, it's not that. Well, it's not that. It's not just that, right? It's a lot more. It's about the industry. It's about the food industry, it's about the steel industry, it's about the gas industry. It's all connected. So the weather that we feel is the symptom siguro, can I say that? Or parang yun yung, that's the effect of all of those other things. So it's a lot more. So there is a blind spot, certainly, before I read this book. And now that I have a better understanding of it and I appreciate it better as well. The way I feel about climate change before reading this book is that I know it's a problem. I know it's something to be solved, but I also feel helpless. I don't know how to contribute. Like, little old me. I don't know. I don't know how it relates to me. Baka ganon. I don't know how it relates to me. I don't know how I can help, how I can really, truly make a change. And therefore, at the back of your mind, at the back of my mind, there was that thinking that this problem is not mine. You, the reader, what can you do? What can you really do? How does it really impact you? Does recycling really help? Or yung mga ganyan. So that's where the last part kind of tries to tell you that it is not completely hopeless. Yeah. That being said, though, it still feels like a gargantuan task. Seriously. So, and if I'm going to be honest, a friend asked me, because I told them that I'm reading this, and they asked me, so what is it about? And I told them na, yeah, it says that we're pretty much fucked, but, kidding aside, it's not completely hopeless, right? But the thing is, I guess that's a lesson that we know this now, so we should do something about it. That's another thing related to my earlier point, the feeling of this problem not being your problem, right? Connected to that is that this thinking that this is not going to happen in my time, right? Actually, in fact, when you read the book, it is sooner than we think. So Ray also read the book, and we were talking about it, and we were talking that I was asking him, so do you think this will happen within our lifetime? Are we going to be around when this thing happens? And the answer is absolutely yes, because it is that soon. So it's not just for the generations to come, not just for your kids, right? But also for you yourself. If you think like you're unaffected, if you feel like, nothing to do with me, it does absolutely have to do with you, with everyone right now. No wonder the kids today are so fucking worried, because they should be. They really should be. A lot of young kids now, a lot of the youth now are very concerned about the environment, right? I mean, Greta Thunberg, diba? She's like the shining beacon of the youth, and she's really worried. And now I get it. I mean, I get it better. I understand it better, because they're really going to be inheriting this humongous problem. And there's no other term for it, because that's exactly what's going to happen. No wonder they're so worried about it. They should be, as we all should. Yeah. So who should read this? Maybe to conclude this episode, I wanted to read the first few lines in the book, yung talagang intro niya, right? So he said here, there are two numbers you need to know about climate change. The first is 51 billion, the other is 0. 51 billion is how many tons of greenhouse gases the world typically adds to the atmosphere every year. 51 billion tons every year, diba? That's a lot. Although the figure may go up or down a bit from year to year, it's generally increasing, and this is where we are today, right? So today, as we speak, that's where we are. 51 billion tons of greenhouse gases emissions. 0 is what we need to aim for to stop the warming and to avoid the worst effects of climate change. That's it. Those are the two numbers, and that's the intro. And I thought it would be nice to end this episode with that, because essentially that's the all-encompassing message, right? Where we are now and where we need to get to. We are now at 51 billion tons a year. And in order for us to survive, for the Earth, for the planet, for the species, not just our species, but for everyone to survive, is to get to 0. How do you even get there? How do you even do that? Diba? So it's a gargantuan task, right? But the book will tell you it's not totally impossible. It's going to be hard, but not impossible. So that's the message of it, right? Who should read this? I would actually recommend this book to the youth. I mean, everyone could read this. Everyone should probably at some level read this. Kung merong abridged version, I would recommend that too. But I feel like the youth, college students can read this. Why the youth? Because this is a problem that is this is a problem that I can understand that would be close to their hearts, a problem that they feel the most, right? Because how can you even envision a future for yourself, for your family? How can you even envision a future of progress and success with a family in this situation? Diba? For those who don't believe in climate change, or for those who are doubting climate change, there's a reason why you're doubting it, right? Maybe push that a little bit and challenge yourself. Read up on other things that proves otherwise, right? And kind of understand, why am I doubting climate change? Because maybe the reason for that may be more personal than you think, or maybe more deeper than you think. So I would recommend this book too. Yeah, and I guess that's it. I hope that helps. I hope I didn't freak you out. It's a good book overall, actually. It's a really informative, educational book. So go have a try. Thank you.